I am Iron Man.
Ever since my eyes met the world, I was breaking through the chains like a match to a flame. I was born against the grain. Oh, oh. They say I'm broken in the brain, got a shot of kerosene in my veins. But hey, 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 they better be concerned now, cause it's my turn, and I'm only getting hotter. Take a step back or you might get burned, cause I'm a fire starter. I'm a fire starter. Yeah, I rose from the trenches and the fumes, got defiance in my bones to the soles of my shoes. And oh, I got a thirst for breaking the rules. You can try me, but I got a short fuse. But hey, 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 they better be concerned now, cause it's my turn, and I'm only getting hotter. Take a step back or you might get burned, cause I'm a fire starter. I'm a fire starter. Look out for my flames, baby, cause I'm dangerous. I am a fire starter. Ever since my eyes met the world, born against the grain. Oh, take a step back or you might get burned, cause I'm a fire starter. I'm a fire starter. Look out for my flames, baby, cause I'm dangerous. I am a fire starter.
Ooh, wee, baby. What's up, Hooked on Fire? How are you today, sir? Uh, y'all bear with me. I ain't exactly awake. Um, yeah, we're doing things. Doing things the best we can, baby. Um, so today we're going to talk a little bit about boxes, enclosures. Um, of course, as always, we'll be answering questions, and that's what's going to drive most of the live show. But up until that point, and during that point, we will be discussing enclosure options because I've been studying over some stuff for like the past few months, pretty hard and heavy, trying to decide on how I'm going to proceed with my Tahoe. So I do a lot of thinking and a lot of planning and a lot of looking at it before I start a project. I'm kind of the opposite of a lot of people. I'm one of those guys that'll go to the store and look at something, shop, and think and study and then I might do that a bunch of times, and then one day I'll buy the thing I'm after. But I, I'm yeah, that's just how I roll. I like to work it out in my head first. So, Rick Ross, what's up, Rick Ross? How are you doing tonight? I am well. This last couple of weeks, I've been just kind of messed up. So, yeah, I mean, I know it's a rhetorical question, but I always go with the actual answer. I figure if somebody's going to ask me how am I doing, I'm going to tell them. I ain't gonna be like, oh, I'm fine, man, fine. Look at me, I'm fine. No, that's not how it works. So anyway, I've been bouncing around. Uh, at first, I was on the idea of doing the fourth order in the Tahoe, And fourth orders are kind of weird. They work, but they do funny things to the loading of the subwoofers, and especially the back ones, the ones back towards the back of the box. They get loaded heavier than the front subs. It's a weird imbalance. they're also they're pretty simple to build, and they're going to work, but you got that problem, you know. So I've been debating on that, and I kind of put that out of my head. And then I start, everyone's trying to talk me into doing a sixth, and a sixth is a lot like a fourth, except that the bottom chamber is also ported, and that tends to make the boxes load better. And from what I understand, it gets you more wind. So, and wind is what I'm after, guys. I'm after lows and wind, and that's my jam. Um, so I have the option of running really as many subs as I want to run. It's just a matter of how much airspace I can fit in the Tahoe. Now, we got to cover a couple other things. So there's two ways you can build a wall in a vehicle. Essentially, there's two ways. There's two basic ways. One of those ways is you can build what we call a slide in, and a slide in is well, exactly what it sounds like it is. You build the box outside the vehicle, whatever the enclosure is going to be, and then you slide it into the vehicle, and then you connect the dots to make it all sealed up and make a wall out of it. And that's what's in my Tahoe right now. Hostile Hair, what's up, man? I'm installing my 3.5s tonight, so I may miss some stuff. It's all good, man. Just put me on audio. You know, that's what Bobby always does. He's out there milking goats and stuff, and he has me on audio so he can he can keep up with it. Um, but yeah, your slide in is easier because you're building it outside the vehicle, and then you put it in, and then you connect it. The compromise with the slide in, though, is that you're going to not be using all the airspace you have available in the vehicle. So that's going to somewhat limit the what you can do. You know what I'm saying? And then the build-in, it's exactly what it sounds like. In this case, well, that's kind of complicated. Build-in is a lot more complicated to explain, but essentially you're building the enclosure inside the vehicle, using the walls of the vehicle as your structural points to come back in, and you can get the most of your airspace with a build-in. And there's many ways to do a build-in, but essentially it's built inside the vehicle. It's constructed in the vehicle. And that's much more difficult because you're in there crawling around and, inside the vehicle trying to do the work. But at the same time, you can get significantly more of that volume that you've got available inside that shell in the box because, you're piecing it together. You don't have to make it fit through that door in the back or the side door or whatever door you're using. And that's the two basic groups when it comes to doing a wall in a vehicle of any kind. Now, the Tahoe is limited in that it's got about 33 inches of 48-inch wide area. So if I do a slide in and I make it 48 inches wide, which is the width between the fender wells back there, it will fit. I can go up about 33 inches. And then at that point, that 48-inch corners will hit the roundover of the back door. Now, if I made it narrower, I could go up, or I could also make it a cool shape and go up a little higher, get a little more of it. But so I've been tossing around the idea of whether or not I'm going to tie into doing a build-in whether I'm going to do a slide in. Let me show you guys something here. I'm going to pull up a file I have up. Um, my buddy, the mad scientist, did something for me, and I'm going to show you guys what this is. Let's get over here, find these here buttons and stuff. Screen. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Sure. All right. So uh, to do this in a way that makes any sense. All right. This is a sixth order with 615s in it and a slide in, and we had to compromise on a lot of spots, a lot of area. But this number right here, this line right here, that you guys can see, this is the response curve for that box, and this is pretty damn good because this right here is like, what was it like? Don't remember. I'm trying to remember so 10, 20, 30. So this is like 26 hertz, 28 hertz, something like that. And then that's 30, 40, 50. So that's like 28 hertz to like in the mid 50s, which is really good. And you can see that response curve is pretty sexy. That's a pretty nice flat curve. It's going to peak probably at about 40 hertz, which works out well in the Tahoe because the Tahoe likes 40 hertz for some damn reason. So this is a solid curve, and then of course he gives me the whole build sheet. So that's the top and bottom chamber. Um, this would be the top chamber is 13 inches. The bottom is 13.75. That's the unideal portion. This is really close to being a 1-to-1 box, and in order to get that's showing right here because a 1-to-1 is going to give you something like this. So when you go to like a 1.2 or 1.5 to 1, the port that you're tuning is going to be a lot more peaky. It's going to be more like that. It's going to have a nice peak at a certain frequency, and that peak's going to go much higher than this is right here. That's where you get that really, really loud peak at a certain frequency, and that works for some people in some builds. But I wanted a musical build, and this is kind of what this is. So that sixth order is pretty flat right there. What's up, El Fuego? And Jess Meyer. Nice to see you guys. El Fuego is in the house. I'm assuming Bobby's putting the goats away. Maybe he's swimming with the goats today. So yeah, this is the current. So, and in that build, we're looking at slightly larger bottom chamber than the top chamber, which is kind of unusual. But again, we're having to compromise because we've only got 33 inches or whatever here to work with, and then once you add all the material and stuff in, a 30 we got it set at 32, but this is what you got, and we have to have enough airspace down here for the subs, and that's like minimum. That's really right at the minimum for the subs. And so you're left with this. This is just what you have left, Um, and I'm asking him, seriously, I'm asking a scientist to build a box to fit through a door that's, the perimeters were just horrible for him to work with. So this is the best he could come up with at the time. And of course, this shows the back panel and the baffle, the way the subs are laid out. And the back port, which is what I wanted. All of this stuff is in here. The cut sheet's in here. All the measurements are in here. How it all goes together, how you get different pieces out of the pieces of wood. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. The bracing is all accounted for. and he's got the whole thing drawn up for me. Um, if you guys are interested in getting something like this done for a build that you're wanting to do, done properly, then you need to head over there and talk to my buddy, the Mad Scientist, and I'll get that link if y'all want it, to his Facebook page. And he does this for a living. It's one of the many things he's doing, but yeah, he can design any kind of enclosure. So you get your whole cut sheet, you get all your centers, everything. Um, it's pretty sexy. Um, so I've got that, but as you guys saw, it's kind of a crunch on that top chamber. Um, and we're sacrificing. We're leaving some stuff on the table. With a little bit bigger top chamber, we could get a lot more. We could get a lot more volume, in the in a certain area, and still have it pretty flat. Uh, be able to get a good peak in there, so that I could, bump on the SPL score pretty good. But I think even with it flat like that, the way you guys saw that graph, I think we're still going to be looking at, high 50s, easy high 50s. And I'm totally cool with that. Because once you break 60, that's when you're starting to bust windshields. And I really don't want to bust a windshield. Okay, take that back. It's kind of a complicated thing. I kind of do, but I also don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a trophy when you bust your first windshield, but it's also an expense and pain in the butt. So there's that. um, Hell, let's see what's going on. You guys are over here going on, man. Y'all are going on. Bobby B, milking goats or working on his bill. Yeah, I think he's probably milking goats in the swimming pool. Tyler said, "Am I rebuilding?" Yeah, maybe. We're talking about it though. Uh, yeah, Fuego said, "Never underestimate the value of a well-designed enclosure." You, sir, my friend, are 100% correct. A lot of people are asking that question: What subs should I get? What amp should I get? All this stuff. Man, get a good enclosure designer. That's going to make way more difference in all the things. And honestly, here's how you do it. Here's the process. Okay, this is the process. If you want to know the truth, um, get your vehicle that you're wanting to build in. Get a good enclosure designer. Uh, Send him all your specs. Let him pick out. Let him pick out subs for you. Seriously, if possible, because he's going to look at all of the different needs for specific subs based on the characteristics in your vehicle, how much room you have, and all that stuff, where everything's positioned. And he's going to know what subs are going to work best in the enclosure that's going to work best. If you want, it's just that simple. Now, if you're, budget limited, obviously, Bobby showed up. You put the goats back in the barn, and he showed up. All right, man. Uh, if you're budget limited, then that's going to make things tricky, because you can't just let them go all willy nilly and have you buying some $2,000 a piece subwoofers. In that case, then you would give them the subs that you can afford, maybe a list of different ones you could pick from, or the ones that you've got, and then have them build or design a box for that specific or subwoofer in that vehicle. And this is the most common way things are done. And you may be like, well, I want to use, 4 subs, all right, 4 18s or whatever. And then your builder goes, man, you really don't want to do that. It would work better with 2 18s, or it worked better with 4 15s. stuff like that. So listen to what your box designer is telling you, because a 15 in the proper enclosure is going to have way more to give than an 18 in the improper enclosure. Um, it is you're going to get more out of the right build. If you don't have the space to build an enclosure, the proper enclosure for a driver, you're not going to get the performance gain out of it going up to that driver. You're better off running the smaller version of that driver with the right airspace. And it's a big difference, man. So I was over at Slapz. I'm going to show you guys some stuff here, because this is where the rubber meets the road. Okay, so I mean, in all actuality, we all working within what we're working within. And let me get this pulled up here. Screen share. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, we'll go ahead. Well, we won't do that. All right, we'll do that. We'll do that. Sure. We don't need to share audio. So, looking at the Slapz SmackDown 18s, okay? And then we're going to skip down here to the part we're interested in today. And the suggested box, ported box, is 5.3 to 5.7 cubic feet. Okay? Now, if we go back and look at, we probably need to look at, well, we'll just go ahead and use that. That's good. Look at the Oblivion 15. All right. Now, 15 and 18, and they're two different subs, but I mean, this is just an example of how this can change drastically. So for that one, we need 3.225 to 4 cubic feet. That's huge difference. So if you ran those 18s in that smaller airspace, you would get less out of them significantly than you will out of these 15s. So you'd be running a more expensive, bigger, nastier sub with more power, and sacrificing a lot of the areas there. And you'd be getting less output than you would with the less expensive, slightly smaller sub, but in the right box. It's hard to get that across to folks. And it's very important to understand that. Let's see here. Bobby said, I'm here. Start over. Working on redesigning my amp rack. T. Corley, what's up, man? I need to get off my butt and go outside. Go outside and reinforce the back of my enclosure before the show tomorrow. Tomorrow? What show is that? That's not one of my shows. No, my show is not until the 31st. Yeah, that's the other thing I was looking at. So I was watching one of my favorite sixth order builders is Jerry Ain't Loud. It's now J&D Designs. The channel changed names. He did that because he left Team Ain't Loud, but honestly, he should have stuck with that. It was kind of a thing. But I get it. I mean, his old lady's a freaking champion. They get out there and work on stuff together, and that's a big deal. She's out there busting her butt with the grinders and the sanders, and so yeah, I feel it. But anyway, I was watching his build on his current Jeep he has, the one where he rebuilt from the 415s to 615s, which is essentially what I got in my noggin. And I forgot what the hell I was going to say. Ain't that some shit? Yeah, that's some shit right there. But anyway, watching him build, oh yeah, I remember. He used these metal braces inside the enclosure between the spots where you've got multiple subs buttoned up together, and there's just a little bit of wood in there for because you got mostly whole, right? I thought, well, that's cool, and if you got a welder and stuff, and because He just took and put a plate on the top, and then he put a plate on the bottom, and then he cut his stick to fit between those 2 points, and then tightly, and he got in there and got it in place, and then just welded it to the thing. It's a brilliant idea. Works great. I don't have a welder, so I'm figuring in most cases you could use a wooden dowel, and so I got to research that because I know the dowels are, I mean, wood's strong regardless, but most of them, I'm wondering what they're made out of. Maybe they're made out of pine and shit. So pine doesn't impress me much. But I also thought about using like shovel handles, right? Because they're going to be made out of a stronger wood. Go to the store and get a couple of shovel handles and cut them down. I don't know, just ideas, and then just screwing it from the top with glue on both sides, and then wedging it in there with glue on the bottom. I don't know. Lots of ideas floating around in my head, man. Lots of ideas. Yeah, I know, man. That's what I was talking about. And I'm talking about specifically his Cherokee build, the current one that he has. He did have a sixth with 415s in it, and that was windy too. So I know I can get windy on four, right? And the Oblivions have got 60 millimeters peak to peak movement. That's over 2 inches. To give you a comparison, the most of the the big sundown drivers have got 70 millimeters. So it's not much below that peak to peak travel. They're like 35 millimeters one way, which is a little over an inch. So they're like 3 inches of peak to peak travel. And the Oblivions are like, 2 and something, 2.25, 2.5. It's not a huge difference, but it is a difference. I mean, that's a percentage, right? You're looking at percentages. The inches don't matter, but the percentage is more important. So anyway, the other thing to that though is the price. And and there's a lot of other stuff goes along with it, motor force and all that. But actually, motor force is complicated because it's not just everyone looks at the motor and goes, okay, it's got a big ass magnet, it's going to be strong. That isn't the only component in a motor. I mean, that's just the magnet. The coil is also important. The windings, the spacing, the coil gap, where the coil hangs in the gap. How tall the coil is, how much extension it has in it. How much mechanical room you have to move, how much electrical, how far you can push the electrical before the coil gets out of the gap. All of these things are motor important when it comes to a motor. And honestly, Jacob Fuller is probably the best in the business at designing a fucking motor. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. That's his jam. That's his shit right there. I mean, there's just nobody better. But the problem with that is the price. So if you picking up a driver that is based on a design that Jacob did, and you're getting it at a much better price, and you're still getting that intellectual prowess, that's better for us, right? It sucks for him. And Jacob's a nice guy, by the way. He's a really nice guy. Unlike a certain person at a different company that I really don't care for. You know, you can process of elimination. You guys can figure that one out. I will say his signatures cost money. But Jacob's actually a cool guy. But still, the point is, if you can get a good design, without having to pay top dollar for it, that's good. If you got the money to go out and pay $1,500, $1,000, $2,000 for the Wicked subs, I mean, Sundown is you're not gonna get hurt by buying Sundown equipment. Period. On the high end stuff. Down in the bottom though, down in the budget or more budget range, they got a lot more competition and a whole lot of good competition. And I think Slapz, the Oblivions, and the Smackdowns, I think they can occupy that space real well, really, really well, and bring a fight to anybody out there, any sub manufacturer, any designer. Um, Johan, what's up, Johan? No, you didn't miss it, man. We're doing things. We're doing things. All good. Bobby B's in the house. Fuego's in the house. You guys are awesome. Y'all are so awesome. So I don't even remember how I ended up on that subject. I need questions, y'all. My brain's shutting down. I got an old man brain. uh, I could sit and ramble forever, but I'm sure that's not what you guys want to hear. Um, most of your most okay, so there's two different ways to design subs too. That's something else I've learned. And you could say, well, one's SPL and one's SQ, but that's not accurate. That's not the truth. What's more the truth is one design puts output at certain frequencies above everything else. Okay. And one design puts control and efficiency above everything else. And the response curve. It's the fact is either of those two subs ultimately could do the same jobs. They could interchange. One would be better at the other. True. Jacob designed subs primarily with the intention of getting the most possible air moving at a given frequency range as he possibly can, no matter what it takes. Power doesn't matter. Nothing matters except for the maximum amount of, pressure at a given frequency range. That's it. And for most of us hardcore bass heads, that's what we're looking for. But you have to keep that in mind whenever you're picking up. If you're wanting a sub for SQ, is it going to hurt to have a big SPL sub? No, it's not. It's going to still do the job. It's going to require a little more power, probably. It's going to require a little more airspace. It's going to not be ideal trying to build it into an SQ system. But that doesn't mean it's not going to sound fine whenever it's done properly. So, let's see here. Play it and live it. What's up, man? Oh, you jumped. It jumped. Uh, yeah. Johan, here, the robot dude is also referred to me to be good if you're looking for. Um, yeah, that dude, that guy, we don't. I call him the underground android. So, no, I don't. I don't associate with him. We had issues back in the day. Well, he had issues with me, and he put me out there. So, whatever, man. But no, I got nothing for him. Um, oh, Bobby wants to know how to do time delay. Oh goodness. Okay, give me a minute, Bobby. Jacob designed the cool looking bass blaster subs from Sparked Innovations. Yeah, yeah. He's if if it's a wicked badass sub, it's a good chance that at least something that Jacob designed is in that sub. He's kind of we look back in the history of our history at people like Westinghouse and Edison and all of these people, and as being, the inventors, the masters of a lot of things, and big stepping stones in our technological, movement forward. Nikola Tesla. Westinghouse, by the way, is very underrated. You guys, if you don't know about him, you need to do some research because Westinghouse is badass. He's really one of the pillars of our technological revolution. Uh, but that's I just saw the comment. But that's not what I'm talking about. The thing is, I think we in our current time are witnessing some of this shit. We're witnessing the future people, what they're going to look back and go, these are corner people, these are important people. They brought a lot to it. Elon Musk, is love him or hate him, he's going to have his name on a whole lot of stuff. I mean, a whole lot of stuff. He's a future. In the future, he's going to be looked upon as one of the most important innovators in our history. I really think so. Right now, he's just that annoying guy that you either like him or you don't like him. And back in the day, uh, Edison, Westinghouse, and Nikola Tesla all had those nomenclatures as well. They were all that weird guy that does the weird stuff that everybody's like, I don't know, man. He's like, doing this or that or the other. But when we look back, it's a different kind of a thing. We're looking back at what they actually accomplished, not, who they banged at a party, right? Or whatever the case may be, whatever that silly, stuff is. And I think Jacob is going to be one of those people that's going to be, we're going to see as a critical point in our car audio history. He's going to be one of those key people, those key names. So, down for sound DBZ12s. Oh, we're talking about the down for sound 12s. Yeah, I looked at some of, actually I was looking at Sky High's stuff. Somebody wanted me to check them out, so I was over there picking around. They got some decent stuff. Um, I think it's just a bit overpriced, but just a bit. El Fuego said that Jacob designed that. Yep, and that is a wicked little subwoofer. Uh, and what's up, Jason? How are you today, man? I'm just reading all this. This is, Bobby, what are you asking? How to set up the delay? Oh, yeah, yeah. Back on the time limit. Um, okay. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Bobby. I caught that. I was thinking about doing time delay too, but after my brainstorming, going up in smokes. Uh, time delay. How much difference does that make, and how do you do it? Um, well, you're going to need a DSP to make that work. Period. I mean, there's not anything. No, no, you don't need a DSP. But people lean on time delay too much. I think there's other techniques to move your image around. So technically, okay, let me start over on this. The effect that you get from time delay, there are ways to get some of that effect sometimes without a DSP. It's just harder. Um, so what I tell everybody is, when you get your system set up, you got your. Let's assume you have a three-way set in the front. That's where everybody that's interested in time delay ends up going to a three-way set. Let's also assume that you have some like a 6.5 or 8 or whatever down in the door, and then you've got a 3 or a 3.5 or a 2 3/4 or something like that. A little middler up on the A pillars or up in the sail panels or up high, and then you got tweeters up there too. So you can time align all of this, But here's the thing I tell everyone to do first. Once you get your vehicle tuned to where you've got the frequencies right and it's producing a good similar frequency, everything is producing similar frequencies at the headset, okay, or at the ear holes of the listener. So your mids are sounding the same here. Your woofers and your tweeters are all that's done. All right, but your sound imaging sounds like it's over here because it is. You know, the distance from the driver's door to you and the distance from the passenger door to you is two totally different distances, and so your brain understands that those speakers over there are further away. One thing I can tell you to try before you even start time aligning is take your threes or your little guys and flip the passenger side one out of phase. Flip it out of phase, and, and it doesn't matter, man. I've done this so many times in a vehicle. What vehicle? It usually doesn't matter. It works in a lot of vehicles. You'll hear, because that's where you're playing from like 300, 350 hertz up to like, 5K or 6K or maybe even all the way up. The point is, most of the vocal range and the musical instruments and stuff are in that frequency range. Whenever you do that, as the way the waves of sound hit your ears, in your listening position, you may be getting one wave that's on a peak and the other wave that's on a trough, because this one's further away from you and it's starting, it's taking time to get there. So that's what tells your brain that, hey, you're not in the middle. But whenever you flip that one over there out of phase, a lot of times, a lot of the frequencies will end up doing this, so that when they get to your ears, all of a sudden they're both on a peak, or they're both on the same. They're in the same phase. They're not doing this, right? Being able to just take that one of those channels out of phase. I always say to do the passenger side, because that way you're not screwing with the phase of everything else, the subs versus the door speakers and all that stuff. You might be surprised. Just doing that by itself may pull that. It may just snap that image in front of you so good that you don't even need the timeline. That's always my first recommendation. Try it. Mess with phasing. Phasing can do lots of cool stuff. If you're allergic to phases, you're in reverse, because you think about two subwoofers out of phase, they don't do nothing. If your two door speakers are out of phase, you lose some bass. But the funny thing is when you're not sitting dead between those speakers in the center, that changes, right? Because this one's out. If you're sitting them dead between them, yeah, the frequencies are going to get messed up, and one's going to be up and one's going to be down. So you're going to get less bass. But when you're sitting off to one side, that all goes out the window. Your position puts you in a spot to where you're hearing a different at a different point during that degradation of that sound wave. So you could try that stuff. I mean, sometimes putting your doors out of phase with the subwoofers can actually increase the bass because of where that sound wave is and relative to where the other ones are in your ears. All that stuff is don't be afraid to play with phasing, man. Switch them in and out of phase. And the reason I said you could do this without a DSP is because, yeah, you can flip the leads on a speaker and literally turn it out of phase on the amplifier on purpose. You could flip the passenger side leads to the opposite without a DSP and put that speaker out of phase with this one. And that may make the magic that you're looking for. So and a lot of times the amplifiers will have a phase switch on them, or a phase knob. Anyway, you can do that. Try playing with that. Time alignment's not hard, though. Time alignment's just a matter of, I usually use the distance method, where you just measure from your ear. Grab you up a big old healthy tape measure. I like using one with a big thick blade. This is like a 30-footer. The reason is the tape doesn't seem to fall over as easy. And you run that sucker over to your speaker and then measure it up to your ear and get that measurement and put that into your DSP. Same thing with all your drivers. There's a way to, I've actually explained how you can kill the delay by subtracting the shortest speaker from all the other measurements, and because you don't need to delay that closest one, or you don't need to delay the furthest one. So technically, take the closest speaker to you, whatever that measurement is, it's a tweeter or whatever, and that distance you subtract it from all the other measurements when you're putting them in. That's the essential bits and pieces, but you don't have to. It's just sometimes there's a limit to how much you can put in. The computer will literally just not let you put any more distance in, and doing that will bring all those measurements into check and help you with that. Holy crap! Let's go back up here. Yeah, I appreciate you, Bobby. What's up, Joseph? DTX Directronics Teamsicle or DTX Dreamsicle? Well, I don't know. I know the name Dreamsicle. I think isn't that a Sundown thing? I could be wrong about that. I'll go over here to Sundown and have a peek. Yeah, I got a Sundown. I got a Sundown tab. I have tabs for a whole lot of stuff because you guys ask questions, and so I like to be able to know, quickly pull it up. And I have these tabs all the time. They're always open on my browser, which is sad. What is that one called? Oh, no, that's not what I thought it was called. I was thinking that NS Nightshade. I was thinking that Nightshade was that. Yeah. My boy ran some of these Nightshades at a competition here at the end of last year, I think it was. He had 4 of them in a build, and he blew 2 of them that day, replaced them, and then the next show he blew 2 more, and he said, "Screw this," and he went back to what is he running now? I don't remember. It's a more standard. It's a Sundown. I forgot what he went back to, but yeah, he didn't like those Nightshades. They did pretty good in the numbers, but they popped them so quick. I'm not even sure what the problem was. But granted, this old boy is rough on stuff, so rough, but still. I got perfect time alignment using headphones while driving. Yeah, that works. That works. Gets it done, man. Does kind of inhibit your ability to hear when someone's like firing sirens off or honking a horn or stuff like that. But yeah, the time alignment's good. Let's see here. I don't know about those subs though. I'd have to dig into them. I'll have to dig into them, Joseph. I don't know. Chris Lamb, what's up, man? On Facebook, hollering at me on Facebook. Good times all around. All right, yeah. It's interesting. Some older DSPs would allow you to switch polarity phase 180. Some of the modern ones can adjust it up to 360. Yeah. Being able to adjust your phase, not just 180, but in any position, is cool, especially if you're running multiple subwoofer amplifiers. or really multiple amplifiers, period. Because let's say you got two subwoofer amplifiers on two subs or whatever. You get them game matched, right? They're both doing the same thing. But the question is, are they both doing this the same? Or is one of them, a little bit off? So, and if not, that can cause problems, big ones. Even if they're just slightly out, you know what I mean? Just a little bit out, um, that can cause a lot of weird issues with sound and stuff. So being able to adjust the phase of those two amps to where you can dial in the little tiny bits and get that perfect match sine wave, that's a good thing. The amp should have the same exact sine wave, but I'd say there's probably about a 20% chance that they don't, and they won't be far out. They may be just a little bit out, just that little bit's a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So having that ability to adjust those is good, especially if you're running multiple subwoofer amplifiers. I, I guess it would matter too in a vehicle because, like I said, flipping them out of phase gets you that peak at the right spot. Well, flipping them partially out of phase may get that. So what you might find is when you're sitting there listening to a test tone or listening to music, slowly adjusting that phase may cause certain tones. Well, it will cause certain tones to get louder and then get softer, and the other tones to get louder and get softer because you're changing when those two sound waves are getting to the key microphone or the ear. You're changing when they meet each other and what part of their waveform they're in when that happens. So uh, that frequency adjustment would literally act like time alignment for certain frequencies. It isn't going to change everything. That's the thing. It's going to change a group of frequencies, but not all of them. Time alignment's going to change all of the time that they get there, which is effectively going to do the same thing, but for all the frequencies. But even then, you're still going to have frequencies that are out, that are not going to be in phase with each other when they get to your ear. No matter whether you have two speakers, even if you're wearing headphones like El Fuego, there are frequencies are going to be not in the same alignment when they hit both eardrums at the same time, necessarily. Um, so figuring out what frequencies you want to push, and focus on is important. And anything in the vocal range, I'd say, is where you're looking for. Anyway, you may have a 200 hertz null in the door or in the corner of the vehicle or something. So you may want to have 200 hertz hitting at the same point. You may want to have adjust it to where the delay or the phase to where at the measuring point, which is your head, 200 hertz is getting upwards. So you're doubling the amplitude of that frequency at that point, right? And if you ever want to hear this, play a tone like a doop, right? Play the tone and this in your normal spot. And while it's playing, move your head to the left and move your head to the right. And you're going to very distinctly hear. You're going to hear that. Exactly what's going to hear. And that's as at certain points, when it goes to the low point, you're moving to a point where one frequency is on the downslope and one's on the upslope. So they're basically canceling each other. As you shift to one side, all of a sudden they'll both be together and it's going to be a doubling effect. And that's a really big deal when you're trying to tune, trying to do the more advanced tuning in the DSP. That stuff comes into play. I should do a video on that. I think I already have, but I've done, I've got well over 1,000 videos. I probably covered that. Um, yeah, no doubt, man. I honestly just time a line, the bass, the highs and mids. Yeah, you can do that. Yep, 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 yep. And I find that so I don't measure my subs because subs have got multiple problems. Here's the thing: the sub is going to start moving after your mids and highs do. They're a smaller, lighter speaker. They're going to move quicker. The sub is going to take a little bit of time to get to doing the subwoofer thing. And so it's always going to sound like it's lagging behind the rest of the music. I find I tune that sucker straight up by ear. I pull up Phil Collins. I don't care anymore, and it's got a drum part that goes like right, and I use that to get my levels of my subwoofer and my mids and highs all the same. I want that drum to sound like a drum kit, not like different parts moving through the car. I want it to sound like a drum kit in front of me, the whole spectrum of that drum beat. I also use that to time to listen to the stick hits on the drums. I listen for that stick, that click, that smack sound, and the thud sound. And the smack sound is going to come from the front speakers, and the thump or the thud is going to come from your subwoofer. And I want those to be together. So I'll sit there, I'll get my time alignment up, and I'll have that song playing, and I'll sit there and dial it in, dial it in, dial it in, until I hear the thud and the smack together, and it sounds like it's supposed to sound. It doesn't sound all weird. Okay, that's one track I use. I also use Jamoni by Nucleus. The very beginning of the song was like doom, 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 right? But then after it gets going, it's just got a beat that's going. Doom, 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 doom. Well, while that beat's going, there's a click along with the beat. And if you got your time alignment right on your sub, that click and that beat will all be just nasty right there together, just thumping. If it's not, you're going to hear the difference. It's going to show up. Those are two of my tuning sounds for time alignment on subwoofers and for level setting on subwoofers. Throwing that out there. So I don't care anymore about Phil Collins. Find a good version on YouTube. It's fine. You're not trying to get the ultimate sound quality. You just want to hear the sound. And Jamoni by Nucleus. Those are two of my go-tos for that. It's all good, man. No problem. Let's see here. El Fuego said, yeah, CIE's very close to 55,000 subscribers, going fast. Yeah, baby. We're doing things. We're doing things. We're getting there, you know. Um, what did my wife say? My wife messaged me. Hang on a minute. Running behind. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's terrible. She said she's running behind. She's not going to be home till later. Um, I'm gonna have to get her some food. Got to do some cooking. Um, oh man, no biggie, brother. No biggie at all. I did my best with that. You know, like I'm learning. I like to learn. Oh, 99 Red Balloons. Yeah, that's a good track, man. That's a good track. I like it. 99 Red Balloons. I ain't heard that in a long time. But I can hear what you're getting at. And it depends on what I'm trying to tune. What part of the process I'm in. Those two tracks are for very specific jobs. When I want to check another track that I like is Aja, AJA. by Steely Dan. It's at approximately 4 minutes in. There's a, it's kind of a finish check. Let's see where we're at approximately 4 minutes to 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Actually, it's like, yeah, it's about that number. In there's the part where it breaks down and you got a really nasty drum set that comes in, and a saxophone, a real powerful, ballsy saxophone, and they go together and do a drum sax solo combo that sounds just juicy as hell. Um, what you should hear during the drum portion, you should hear the drums go like right, and it should sound the way that drum set's mic'd up. If you have everything right, okay, it should sound like you're sitting on the drum throne. It should sound like you're in the middle of it, and you'll hear the rolls going back and forth and around you, even without any rear speakers, just your subs. With a full front stage, it'll still sound like it's just all. It sounds like you're playing the drums and you're sitting on the throne. That's what it sounds like. Um, that's going to give you a good idea of where you're at in that regard, and also the drums have got just a lot of impact. I mean, a lot of really good balls in them. They hit you in the stomach. It's good low end drums. So if you're not getting that, you need to work on something. If you're not getting that, you know what I'm saying? That just slamming into you, you ain't got it right. There's some stuff you need to work on. Uh, that's a really good track for checking your mids, and yeah, it's more about your mids and your subs too. If you don't have the time alignment, if you haven't already done the I don't care anymore and stuff to get that time alignment on the subs to match up with your mids, if you haven't already done that, it's going to sound like hot shit. You got to get that right first, and then when you go into and play Aja uh, and that drum part, then you'll hear what I'm talking about, and you'll be able to really dial in that last little tiny bit and get that. Man, I'm telling you guys, that's a wicked song. It's a really good song. 99. No, man, we don't. I do the American version. I don't like songs in different languages. So yeah, I get it. It's the OG. I get it. But I grew up on the red balloons, not the Luft balloons. Uh, yeah, it was Nina, but yeah, I ain't sure if the spelling is right either. But yeah, very good. Have I tuned the Sony 9500 ES? Any tips? Negative, Batman. I have. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. Uh, actually, I believe that's the same software that's in the Sony 5 channel amp. That may be what that is. I guarantee you it is. Did you have to go to some like Sony Life something weird app you had to download? That's like Sony Experience or Sony Lifetime or whatever the words are. I can't remember. It's a really quirky software. Um, yeah, I don't. I didn't. I messed with it just a little bit on an amp that I had, and I still got that amp actually. I need to figure out what that is. I got it stashed around here somewhere. Really good sounding amplifier. It's a 5 channel amp, Sony amp. Really good sounding amplifier. But it had it was like 20 watts per channel, and then like 200 watts on the sub. So it was a lightweight amp. But sounded amazing. I had that in my big truck for several years. Um, had that little 200 watts going to a JL W2 in a sealed box. And I was sending the rest of the power to some little computer speakers up there, little pods up there mounted on my handles as you got in the truck. There's three. I just had three channels running, and that thing sounded so good. That was a nasty sounding setup. I spent many, many, many miles and many hours listening to that, and then that the sound stage was so good. Even though in the truck you've got a lot more space in between you and your driver's door, that bar was like 2 feet away from my head, right? So it's way out there. The other one was way over here, but still, um, they were far enough away that the percentage of difference was not as much. And I remember burning up the highway listening to that little setup. It was so cheap, such a cheap little setup, but man, it sounded good. I would listen to songs and listen and listen. And I'm thinking, wow, how does this? I mean, I got a few $100 in this system, and it sounds as good or better than anything else I've got. But and I was talking to my friends about it, and they were like, yeah, it's a truck. It's the fact that you've got more cabin space and there's more room for the sound to mature in there. And I would love to have argued with them, but I really couldn't because it just sounded great. It just had a really, really good sound. That was yeah. Um, what's up? So I don't know about that amplifier, but I didn't like Sony's software. I love their equipment, but I don't like their software. What's up, man? I cannot pronounce your name, but nice to see you. Uh, Audio control amps and DSP. Audio control is solid, solid, absolutely solid. I can't speak on. I haven't used a whole lot of stuff from audio control, but what I have used has been great. I think if you're looking for the biggest possible toolbox, it's going to be one of them. If you're looking for the easiest toolbox to find tools in, it might not be your choice. It's very complex. I wouldn't recommend audio control DSP to anybody who is brand new to DSP. It's not going to be your friend. You're gonna have a hard time figuring a lot of things out. It's going to be a harder experience. It's not undoable. It's very doable, but the experience is going to be much more difficult. Um, Honestly, start out with you guys can see it. It's not even on camera. But the little B2 DSP that I got behind me over here will give you most of what that will give you, and a lot easier to use. That little guy right there. So get that, the B2 610. That's what I'm powering my whole system through right now. My studio here. So yeah, I mean, this is what I listen to. This is literally what you see behind me is what's powering everything in my room. And I get down in here, guys. I've got it sounding really good. You're looking at $160 for this. Audio control is going to cost you $160 just to go to the website. Their shit's good. It's good, but you're paying for it. I focus on trying to get the best value I can. I want 90 to 95% of the thing at 25% or 50% of the price. That's what I'm looking for. I want the best value per dollar. Uh, so, and that's the question he asked. Play it and live it. What's up, man? Uh, you bring up that topic, how you define amp that sounds really good. How can you define amp that sounds really good? What should you be looking for, listening for? That's not a number. That's not a thing I can draw on a chalkboard. And honest to God, dude, I don't know. Um, I don't know if. Okay, hang on. I got to think about this. Okay, there's always the element of something being expensive, and therefore you think it should sound good, and so you project that, right? But I don't think this is what we're talking about. Um, that's not the case. We're not projecting awesomeness on something because it was expensive. Because everybody that hears that amp is blown away by how good it sounds. Um, you just gotta. It's like, okay, you don't hear it with a lesser amp. You don't hear bad. Okay, you don't hear bad with the amp that's not the amp. You don't hear the bad. You hear what you hear is fine. It's fine. It's going to sound great. And then when you hear the other amp, it sounds better. And I, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know why. You know, it may be that that your ear is subconsciously picking up on distortions that are in there that your conscious brain just isn't paying attention to, but your subconscious is. Um, and the fact is, uh, it's not really quantifiable, or maybe it is, but you damn sure hear it. You hear the difference. An amplifier that's got a really clean output, and however they get there, whether it's computers, whether it's software, whether it's fancy twiddling and knobs and stuff, there's a distinct difference. Now, when you hear that difference, you know it. You know it 100% right off the bat, but you can't put your finger on it, and you can't go get back in a vehicle or in a house and listen to the lesser amp and point out what's wrong. It sounds fine. It sounds great, but the other one sounds better, and you don't know why. That's the best I can tell you, man. It's hard to call. I think it's a subconscious thing that your brain's picking up on. Little distortions and stuff that are either there or not there that your conscious brain isn't registering. I don't know. It's hard to call. But that Sony, what was it? Mobile. I know I still have that amplifier somewhere. I'll have to pull it out one day, guys. I don't think I have any videos. I might have a video with that Sony amp in it. I don't know. I guess 9500 with a certain amount of DSP features like the modern head units. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Um, the audio control 810 DSP is a little complex, but the new software is an improvement. Well, yeah, it's been a while since I poked at an audio control DSP, but there's just a lot of tools there. I don't know that it's necessarily the ideal set of tools for somebody new to the game. Uh, Sorry about your name, man. I give up. I don't want to. I don't want to insult you by by screwing that up. There's not even any. I can't even any. I can't even Americanize that name. That name is really good. Uh, in the world we live in, right? Play it. The biggest thing I noticed between the gaps in sound will hit hard on the first note. Sounds really punchy and dynamic. Yeah. Some amps have really weak attack. Yeah, that's a thing. Any truth to the rumor that JP amps sound better when they are signed? No, El Fuego. But if you get your JP amp signed at a P. Diddy party, it will sound amazing. It's going to be smooth and slick. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. Cool beans, brother. No, man. If you go to a freak out, man, the PD signatures, the JP signatures are half off. They include that in the purchase price of the baby oil purchase price. Oh my god, dude. Um, I know I got issues, man. I can't help it. You guys want to come over and hang out with me sometime? We'll throw some shit on the grill and just have a blast. I love hanging out with good people. Um, Rick Rouse said if you can afford a $50 signature, yeah, no doubt, dude. I don't know, man. Uh, yeah, I watched Jonathan Price back in the day, man. Whenever he still was just getting stuff built and doing his own stuff and building stuff, and I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, he got some pretty cool ideas and has some pretty cool stuff. And it's something whenever he started doing this whole thing that he's doing, and he just changed into a different human being, and it ain't been a good change, you know. And they say people change. I don't know if people change so much as your perception of them might change, but in this case, I think he changed a bit. Jason said it's hard to find the good sounding amps. You have to listen and compare yourself. Yeah, you know, you could always go with that with the winners or any major car audio SQ competition. Anything that anybody's running is going to be in the running for that. Honestly, no matter what they place, the install is a vast majority of where their points are given because these guys are all running top of the line equipment. Um, and yeah, usually they are good, but um, it's you can get around that though. There are little nuggets out there, um, and then them little Sony amps, man. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I can't put my finger on it, but I'll assure you, you'll hear it, and then you'll be like, I don't know why, but that sounds amazing. And it was a $300 amp or whatever. I don't know. But the only problem I had with them is there just wasn't very much power. Very, very low power. So for a purely SQ system where you're not wanting any volume, and the thing about running in that environment, running a purely mid to low volume SQ, that guy is not going to be running a Sony amp. He's going to be running some freaking Audison or some Morel shit, whatever. He's going to be running some expensive ass shit. So it's a funny market that they're putting themselves in with that amplifier. Does it sound as good as any of those amps? Oh hell yeah! It just ain't got no power. It's like a slightly beefed up head unit. If that's what you're looking for, then it's great. It worked good for me. I ran I Bluetooth to the amplifier um, and ran it that way. Actually, what did I have? No, did I have a Bluetooth or was I plugging in? I don't remember now. Oh no, I had that little Rockford Fosgate. Yeah, that's what I had. I had this Rockford Fosgate head unit. It was essentially for a boat. It was just a volume knob and one of those little deals. You drill a hole in it, put it in there. It's got all the stuff. I used that for my source, and that thing made me mad all the time because I listen to audiobooks a lot, and it would screw up when they'd go from one chapter to the other. It would not. It would cut the signal out at the end of the chapter, and it would come back in late. So I'd miss the first couple of words of the next chapter every time. That drove me freaking crazy with that. But other than that, I mean, if you're listening to music on it, it'd be great. It's just audiobooks. It was like it annoyed me bad. Um, that was a great choice though. Let's see here. You go out and listen to high end SQ vehicles. You hear what's possible for real. But guys, again, I can't say this enough. What you're hearing in a good SQ vehicle is not the equipment. That's not what you're hearing. You're hearing the install, the sound treatment, the tune, the positioning, all that stuff is what you're hearing. You need good equipment, but a really good SQ vehicle done properly could use so cheap of stuff, and it would still sound amazing. So it's all about the install, and I say the install, that's encompassing everything. It's all about the install. A good install, a good tune is going to sound good no matter what equipment you're running. That's way more important than the equipment. But you're right. They're going to be using good equipment, and it will sound good. And there is such a thing as bad sounding equipment. That doesn't mean it has to be super cheap. It could be really expensive bad. Vice versa. You could find a piece of equipment that's really cheap, but also sounds really good. Let's see here. Joe Berserker, what's up? It's all right, man. Life is good. You know, there's a back button. Play It and Live It said, Jason, what's the highest RMS per channel for SQ? There's not one. If you want a number, somewhere around 130 dB overall performance level is kind of where they tend to top out most SQ setups. About 130-ish. It needs to be able to be loud enough to overcome conversation in the vehicle quite well. Kind of rock out, you know, get the soul moving a little bit, but it doesn't have to bust your eardrums. And it does need to have some punch to it, though. But about 130 dB total system volume measured is probably a good number, just roughly. SQ, they require a specific amount of. There's actually numbers, you can look it up. The vehicle has, the judge will want to play it at a certain dB rating. So depending on where you go, because there's different rules at every place, the judge may get in there with a little dB meter and adjust the volume on a tone to get it to a certain point. Then they won't touch it after that point to get it up to a certain dB. That's how they judge stuff. So yeah, it's bonkers. Other judges may just get in there and let you set it and then get in there and leave the volume where it is when they get in. It all depends. The rules are so loose. But does anybody else got any questions for me tonight? I have rambled for a while. My wife said she's going to be home late, and I'm feeling bad for her now. I'm going to have to go get her some food or make her some food. 2 or 3 times speaker rated RMS power. It gives you dynamic headroom. Okay. Yep. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all for stopping in tonight. I hope we had fun. I had fun. You know, and nothing else, man. We're gonna go over, get the freak on P. Diddy, and for now, I got to go make some food for the wife. So let's get the duck out of here, baby.
Subwoofers are getting loud, you can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go, got it shined up for the show. Power's charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. We got more at home, another one bites the dust. Eyes are glowing and the amp is smoking, subs are cherry red. Let me keep jamming, gotta keep the bass slamming, gonna go hard till they're dead. Full power, gotta let it go, 20 hertz in the floating air. Sparks are flying, voice coils are frying, and the smoke is in the air. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust.
Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust. Got it. Got it.
The dance. Y'all have a good weekend. See you Sunday.